Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting ready to start our broadcast here. Make sure that everything is live streaming. Ready? I believe we are up and running. Just want to double check one more thing to make sure that we are up and running. Let's refresh this, make sure we're up and running, and we are up and running. Second. Nope, I have a microphone. See? All right, now let's see if we got some volume here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Just what we need. Volume. Let's see if it's this. Okay, very good. Just what we need. All righty, very good. Okay, very good. Just what we need. All righty, very good. Okay, very good. Just what we need. All right, very good. Okay, very good. And let's do the sound on there, sound there for there. All right, very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Online Real Estate School Incorporated. This is our free real estate class that we run every Monday. This is going to be the quickest hour in real estate. And I want to welcome everybody to the show every Monday, 6 p.m. I run this show to help those who are looking to enroll in a real estate school to do a little bit more research to see if this school will meet their needs, if my teaching style is agreeable to your learning style. This is a live streaming class that I run, so you get to see me, talk to me, ask me questions, just as if you were sitting right here in the classroom, without any of the disruptors, without anybody coughing or sneezing or hacking next to you. So we don't have that environment that you have to worry about. So this environment works out very well, ladies and gentlemen. I've been running the live streaming class just before the pandemic started. We were running into some legal issues. You weren't allowed to run this pre-licensed class, this 75-hour class, by a live streaming platform prior to the pandemic. But then the pandemic came along, and now we're under a governor's waiver to allow the live streaming. So this means we can reach students all through Pennsylvania and the outskirts of Pennsylvania as well. We just opened up our new school, ladies and gentlemen, in Pittsburgh, 429 4th Avenue. 429 4th Avenue, we're Suite 300, beautiful little unit that we have there. Pittsburgh, PA 15219. That is our newest addition to the school, to go along with our Center City School, 1500 JFK Boulevard. We're on the 3rd floor there. And we also have our main office at 6044 Castor Avenue in Philadelphia, PA 19149. We will be opening up another school very soon in Erie, PA. And so we're looking forward to probably 2 more acquisitions, maybe even 3, so that we kind of hit all corners of Pennsylvania. So right now we're in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh. I'm very happy about our newest location. And we are basically a live streaming class, ladies and gentlemen. You get to see me, talk to me, ask me questions, just if you were sitting in a classroom. With the price of gas today, with the crime rate out there, with all the risk of driving back and forth to the class, this eliminates a lot of those expenses and those risks involved with trying to find parking, trying to get out there, going from one job to the next, and so forth. Because we are by a Zoom platform, it's easy for you to come into the class, even if you're just leaving work and you're still not home yet. You really won't miss much because it's a Zoom. Be careful driving, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want you to be distracted behind the wheel. That's not the goal. But the point is that the classes are easily accessible to you through the Zoom platform. And the classes, ladies and gentlemen, are a small investment. And I like the fact that a lot of people don't want to go to work. I like the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that you hear nothing but doom and gloom on the news. Interest rates are going up. Real estate is stalling out. Don't go back to work. Your boss is going to ask you to be jabbed. If you don't do that, it's best to sit at home and not go back to work. I love this, ladies and gentlemen. I really do, because it eliminates a lot of competition. It eliminates a lot of problems. And so those who don't want to work, I suggest that you don't sit at home. Don't go out, don't work, don't do anything. The government, as Uncle Sam used to say, I want you. The government would love to have you as government property. Sit at home, take a check, don't go to work. Government definitely needs that, and it would love to have you dependent upon that. I like it as well, ladies and gentlemen, because this is for the entrepreneur. This is for the overachiever. And since there's less and less of us, it's more opportunity available. I have so much work, ladies and gentlemen, you have no clue how busy I am. I just barely made this class in time. Today, I'm teaching my agents how to do the buyer's estimated closing costs. We have to understand how to do the numbers. We have to understand how to do the contracts. So not only am I running a school, but I also run a brokerage. And a lot of my students, after they're done the class, want to come work for me so that they can learn the business. They can build a business. And I love seeing the brokerage name out there as well as the school's name out there, ladies and gentlemen. I work very, very hard to pay it forward, to teach everybody what they need to learn to achieve. And since I spend a lot of effort and work to help you achieve your goals and your dreams, it comes back in dividends. It pays its rewards, ladies and gentlemen. Your success is my success. Zig Ziglar used to say, get what you want in life by helping others get what they want in life. And that's a motto that I kind of live by. So today, I pay it forward. Yesterday, I picked up $1 million development deal. Today, I'm teaching agents. I'm currently teaching those who want to do better to achieve a real estate license, or at the very least, learn what you need to learn about real estate. Don't be somebody else's fool, all right? Knowledge is power. Ignorance is bliss, but knowledge is power. And I teach my students to be educated and aware of what's happening in the real estate arena so that you can help not only yourself, but your family members and go on to help others. Once you have a real estate license, ladies and gentlemen, you'll never be broke. You'll never be unemployed again. You will have income coming to you. Doors will open up. Avenues will open up that you never even imagined would be opening up to you. And it's all because you took the time to take a 75-hour class, make the investment, get that real estate license, and then you have to see what comes about all that. So effort in, effort out, ladies and gentlemen. So understand, I got no pet peeve with those who don't want to work. I don't want you to work. I want you to stay at home. I only want the opportunity for us entrepreneurs or overachievers to succeed and to eliminate those who don't want to succeed, those who don't want to achieve. That's fine by me. To each their own, ladies and gentlemen. This class, this free show is really talking to those individuals who do want to achieve, who do want success, who does want better income. And that's what this class is about, ladies and gentlemen. And I would love to say that I have millions of students. It doesn't work that way because of a numbers game, ladies and gentlemen. This show that I do every Monday, it's not for the ratings. It's not for all the likes and the bells and the whistles. This is just for those who are looking to obtain the real estate license, those who are searching for a school. So it's usually those who come here to the show one time and then make a decision after that. But they don't really come back to the show week after week after week. That's not what this show is designed to do. And so it's live streaming through a lot of social platforms, and more platforms will be added as we go along. But this show it's a new audience every week. I would love to say I have 1 million followers, but it doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen, not for this particular format. This format is just an introduction to help you make a decision to see if this school would be the right school for you. Every school could do this. Every school could run this free class introducing their platform and what they offer, but few do. So again, as I said, as long as they're on the sidelines, more opportunity for us. So let's talk about what you need to learn in a 75-hour class. There are 2 subjects that we talk about: real estate practice and real estate fundamentals. They're 2 separate subjects. Some people think that because real estate fundamentals is the first chapters of the book, that they have to learn real estate fundamentals first. That's programming. If you want to do chapters chronologically, that's fine. You could do that, but they're 2 separate subjects: real estate practice, real estate fundamentals. So let's deal with both of these subjects. What is real estate fundamentals? First of all, real estate fundamentals is the law: federal law, state law, local law, protected classes, the American Disability Act, fair housing laws, non-discrimination, contract law. So there's a lot of laws that go into contracts and representing others. And so one of the first things that the Real Estate Commission wants you to have a general knowledge, if not better than a general knowledge, is real estate fundamentals. And again, real estate fundamentals deals with federal law, state law, local law. Now, each time we have a president, ladies and gentlemen, love them or hate them, doesn't matter. Each time we have a president, that administration is going to be putting into new effects, maybe new tax codes, maybe 78 billion new IRS agents to come and harass you and take your money to feed government, because without taxes, government would not exist. And so now government needs to send out their army to harass you and take that money so that government can survive. Without the taxes, government would cease to exist tomorrow. So each administration is going to do different. This administration is sending out an army to collect taxes. Again, the cavalry's coming, ladies and gentlemen, and that army will soon be non-funded and that money will go elsewhere. But these are the things that you have to understand. When we have governments, when we have midterm elections, when we have national elections, it has an effect. It has an effect. All right. We went from $2 a gallon to $5 a gallon, and now we're down like $4.30 a gallon, and they want to take credit for fixing it. We fixed it. It's not as high as it was. It's still way higher than it was before you'd attempted. Just like a PhD, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody has a PhD today. Everybody, you ever see that show, Are You Smarter Than a 7th Grader? I've seen PhDs on this show, Are You Smarter Than a 7th Grader? And the 7th grader blew them away. Everybody's got a PhD. So PhDs, they take things, they take it apart, they try to put it back together and take credit for fixing it. And so a PhD is paper that says you could get a job in that field. That's what a PhD does. But a real estate license, ladies and gentlemen, is a license to earn compensation. You cannot earn money in the real estate business without the real estate license. So this real estate license is much more powerful than the PhD, ladies and gentlemen, because the PhD says you have a knowledge in a certain subject, and that subject might be able to make you money out there. But the real estate license is a ticket. It's a license to earn compensation in the real estate business, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a lot of money to be made in the business, especially with all this doom and gloom. Watch what other people do and do the opposite, because you could be a leader or you could be a follower. And that's your call, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this show right now, you already know what you are. You're a leader. You want to achieve more. You want to accomplish more. And so, as I said, this show is not for the faint at heart. This is for those who want to go on to bigger and better. So the first thing that the Real Estate Commission requires is an understanding of fundamentals, the law, federal law, state law, local law, and there's a lot of other laws, fair housing laws, the American Disability Law, contract law, agency laws. And so you need a school that's going to go into detail, in depth, to explain exactly what the laws are and how they affect you and how you need to apply them. It's not hard, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be so redundant. I designed this class to be redundant because if you only hear things once or twice, you're going to forget it. We're going to talk about how the brain works in the class, how we can improve your long-term memory in the class. This is why I have such a high pass-fail ratio. This is why the brokers want their agents, their new agents, come in my school. Most schools, ladies and gentlemen, are basically a 3-week program. And that 3-week class is designed to help you, prep you to pass an exam. It's basically all it's done. That's all it is designed to do. A 3-week class or an online course. Maybe the online course doesn't do as good of a job of prepping you because it is a different language. And if you don't understand the language of real estate, then the online course could be difficult for you to absorb. But a 3-week class, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, no broker, no employee really wants you now that you've taken a 3-week class, because all the 3-week class does is prep you A, B, C, or D to pass an exam. But what do you do after you pass the exam? What's next? So we talk about this in my class. You have many opportunities. You could go to work for a broker, most money you'll ever make, commission. You can go to work for a Fortune 500 company, a Fortune 100 company, any one of these companies out there that you see out there, ladies and gentlemen. Home Depot, Pep Boys, McDonald's, all these are in the real estate business. All right. Ray Kroc from McDonald's, the founder. If you ever see that movie, The Founder, talks about the McDonald's. Once Ray Kroc realized that he wasn't in the franchise business, he was in the real estate business. Once he understood that, McDonald's became a multi-billion-dollar operation. Every one of these companies are in the real estate business, ladies and gentlemen. They have their own real estate and tax department. And if you have a real estate license, you have an opportunity, a good opportunity, salary, commission, and traveling and so forth. Take franchises. There's another opportunity. Subway, Wawa. They're expanding in many different ways, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not so much in Chicago as their next is out of Chicago, but that's what happens when you have cities that are badly, poorly managed. Businesses are going to be leaving. And so you have a few states like New York, Chicago, Washington, California, that there's an exodus out of those states, ladies and gentlemen. They're just badly managed, and they're purposely badly managed. There's a reason, but don't want to get into it. That's not this class. So understand that there's a lot of opportunity for you. Franchises, you can go to work for a franchise. Wawa's going up and down the coast, ladies and gentlemen, up and down the coast. They're in Florida, they're in Pennsylvania, but they're not open yet in all points in between. And yet they will be expanding. So there's an opportunity for you with a real estate license. Then you can go to work for developers. Look at Toll Brothers. They're building along the river, ladies and gentlemen. Toll Brothers usually has a reason that they're first on site. We'll talk about that in the class. First right of refusal. Toll Brothers uses first right of refusal better than anybody that I know. This is how they end up with real estate when other developers don't even know land is available. So you can go to work for a developer, make a lot of money there. You can go to work for investors. There are many other opportunities that once you have that real estate license, these opportunities will be presenting themselves. Work will come to you. You're not going to be looking for work anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Once you are licensed by the state, trust me, almost everybody that's looking for a real estate agent is going to know about it. And wait till you see the job offers that are coming your way. You're not going to look for work anymore. So real estate fundamentals is a requirement so that you understand what you can and cannot do in the real estate arena. The next thing that the Real Estate Commission wants you to understand is real estate practice. What is real estate practice? Well, that's your real estate business, ladies and gentlemen. That's you taking a client out to see the property, helping the client write a contract, representing them through the home inspection, making sure that the title is done, the appraisal is done, and then you get that nice big commission check. And what did you do? You helped someone else. You helped them buy their property. You helped them make that dream come true. And now you got paid handsomely for it. And they are going to be referring you to others. You got to check out my agent. Not only did my agent help me buy the property, my agent even showed me where the money was to buy the property. So I'm going to teach you that as well, ladies and gentlemen, because I have a brokerage as well as the school, because I am the true entrepreneur here. I am showing my agents the Philly First grant, $10,000 grant. There's a bunch of other grants, ladies and gentlemen. You might only be familiar with the Philly First grant, the $10,000 grant, but that's only for first-time buyers. What if you're not a first-time buyer? What is available for you? There's lots of money available for you to buy the property. I have 2 buyers that are about getting into a property with only little money out of their pocket, if not any money out of their pocket. So how would you like to become a homeowner, have a $10,000 grant to boot, and no money out of your pocket? And chances are your mortgage will be cheaper than the rent. So the real estate practice is your business. You're running a real estate business. And you need to understand how to do the contracts. That's what we did today. We were going over buyer estimated closing costs. The buyers and the sellers have to have 2 things before. You know how many real estate agents don't notice what I'm about to teach you? Lots of agents have no clue about what I'm about to teach you. You have to give that client 2 things before they make an offer to buy the property or before they accept an offer to sell the property. And those 2 things are their closing costs. Buyer needs to know how much money they need in the bank to buy the property and what the monthly payments will be before they make an offer on the property. And the seller wants to know, with the estimated closing costs, how much money is going to go in my pocket. After all is done and said, after I pay you, after everything's done, how much money is going in my pocket. These are the 2 things that a buyer and a seller need to know. Seller wants to know how much money is going into the bank account. Buyers need to know how much money they need in the bank account. So their estimated closing cost has to be done before the contract, before the agreement of sale. So we were going over that today. The second thing that they're going to need before they do an offer or accept an offer is the seller's property disclosure. The buyer needs to know what the seller knows about the property so that they have this informed knowledge, actual knowledge, before they make an offer on the property. All right, so there are a lot of things that you need to know that has to be done prior. You know how many real estate agents will take somebody out to see a property and write the offer on the property, and the offer gets accepted, and then you find out the buyer can't afford the property? This is going to get you in the courtroom, ladies and gentlemen, because you need to understand ready, willing, and able buyer. Ready and willing, everybody is, but are they able to buy that property? And the only way that you're going to know if they're able to buy that property is by understanding properly how to do the estimated closing costs. I can tell you right now, 80% of the real estate agents don't know how to do closing, because what they send me is an MLS, the Bright, we call it Bright. It used to be the MLS, but it's Bright. They call it Bright now. And it'll give me a Bright printout of the buyer's closing. And I can tell you right now, it's about $2,000 to $3,000 short. It doesn't include lots of items that need to be included in the buyer's estimated closing costs. The buyer needs to know everything so there's no surprises. And the last thing we want to be is $2,000, $3,000 short on funds when we get to the settlement table. So knowing how to do the buyer's estimated closing costs, I'm old school. I've been doing this for a very, very long time, ladies and gentlemen. I know I look like I'm only 19 years old. I understand that, but I've been doing it for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. So buyer's estimated closing costs, we spend a lot of time on it today to make sure that we know how to take the bank's numbers, the mortgage company's numbers, and the brokerage's numbers and explain that to our clients so they understand in detail how much money they're going to need and not need and what their monthly payments are going to be, so there's no surprises. Now, with interest rates going up, ladies and gentlemen, what you might hear is a bad thing, you don't realize is a good thing. When I first started out in this business, so maybe you'll get to know the year, interest rates for a mortgage was 18% for good credit, 22 to 25% for bad credit. Now, understand usury, the max interest that can be charged by law. That max interest in the state of Pennsylvania is 29.9%, which means you really can't charge more than 29.9%. And you will see credit cards at 26, 27, 28%. And so I teach this in my class. You got one credit card that's at 6.99% with a $45 a year salary. And then you got another credit card at 26.99% with no yearly fee. Which one is the better credit card? Do you even know how to use a credit card? Do you understand utilization score? Do you understand what will bounce your credit score up? So in my class, not only do I teach you real estate, but I teach you finance. You need to understand that. There's no way that you're going to be able to run a real estate business, ladies and gentlemen, unless you understand the financial mechanism. When I teach you how to invest in property, I'll teach you the mortgage and the note business. This is creative financing. No bank involved, vendor, vendee, purchase money mortgage, and it's owner and seller, the buyer and the seller coming together to do the deal. And it's a great situation, but most agents have no clue. They don't know what a VA loan is. They don't know what owner financing is. They don't know creative financing. So they're pretty much Cracker Barrel, plain Jane. 3 flavors, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. That's basically all they know. It's just 3 flavors. But as we know, ladies and gentlemen, there are lots and lots of other flavors out there to choose from that we can even design. So when I teach you how to invest in real estate, I'm not talking about what you are used to. There's no such thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's no such thing as a no money down deal. You better watch assignment of contract and no. Assignment of mortgage, yes. So the assumption, can you do an assignment? Can you do an assumption? Well, are you familiar with the mortgage? There's an alienation clause and an acceleration clause in the mortgage. And if you're not familiar with the alienation clause and the acceleration clause, then you can't do the assignment. You can't do the assumption of the mortgage without the bank's permission. So a lot of these investment classes, they're going to lead you down the wrong path, ladies and gentlemen. This class is designed by the state. It's a state requirement. So this class is the platform, the foundation, the very first thing that you would want to do before you start buying investment classes and so forth, because you're going to see a lot of those contracts do not comply with Pennsylvania law. A lot of these investment groups, they're out there in Arizona, they're out there in California, but they're not here in Pennsylvania. So they don't understand Pennsylvania law and Pennsylvania requirement. You got a lot of investors from New York coming here to Pennsylvania, and they don't understand Pennsylvania requirement, and then they end up in a lot of trouble. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, each state has their own specific state requirement in order to be licensed in that state. This is why, let's say that you're licensed in Florida and you want to get your real estate license here in Pennsylvania, you don't need to take the national. Again, you only need to take this state portion, because Florida state law and Pennsylvania state law are 2 different laws, 2 different subjects altogether. So you need to understand that this is a state required class. The state requires that you take this class in order to receive your real estate license. And I told you that real estate license is your passport, your golden ticket. You'll never be broke. You'll never be unemployed again. Unless, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to get off the sofa. You don't want to make any effort. That license to earn money does give you the right to earn it, but it doesn't come free. And this is why I said we have a lot of people who are getting lazier and lazier. You have no idea what opportunity that presents to us, those who are not lazy, those who are willing to take advantage of this opportunity when everybody else is sitting on the sidelines, when everybody else is being subject to the doom and the gloom that you're hearing on the news. People like me and my team, we're prospering. I couldn't be any busier right now, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't. There's not enough time in the day. I have no time. This is an hour class, and look, a half hour of it is already done. Now let's get into some more interesting stuff. We talked about the real estate practice, and we talked about real estate fundamentals. Let's talk about certain things like title theory state and lien theory state. Pennsylvania is a lien theory state, which means the bank only has a lien on the property. So let me ask you this question. When you buy a property and you get a 30-year mortgage, do you own that property day one, or do you own that property 30 years later when you make your final payment? The answer is day one, ladies and gentlemen, because Pennsylvania is a lien theory state. The bank's name's not on the deed. Your name's on the deed. You get the deed. Don't get the deed and the mortgage mixed up. Don't get them confused. The deed is ownership of the property. The mortgage is a loan. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think that the mortgage, the bank owns the property. If they don't, you own the property. What the bank has is security or collateral. If you stop making your payments, then they can auction off the property. The bank doesn't want your property. The government doesn't want your property. We'll talk about tax sale in my class. The government doesn't want your property when they're selling the property at a tax sale. They want their moolah. They want their money. So the bank wants the money. The government wants the money. Neither want your property. However, the property is of value. And if the bank can auction off the property for the money that's owed to them, then that's what they do. So they place a lien against your property. And if you stop making your mortgage payments, they have a right through the mortgage. See, that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. You get two instruments when you buy a property, a mortgage and a note. The mortgage is the legal document allowing the bank to use your property as security for the loan and collateral. So the mortgage does nothing, with the exception of one thing, the defeance clause. The mortgage does nothing to protect you, the buyer. The mortgage is all about the lender. It is the legal document that allows that borrower, that lender, to recapture that property and pay off their loan that they lent you. But they don't own your property, and they don't want to end up with your property if it doesn't sell at auction. So again, the mortgage is the legal document that gives the right to the bank or to the lender to auction off your property for their money, but they don't want your property. But the note is your promissory note. That is a negotiable instrument. And I talk about how to buy notes, sell notes, and this is how I end up with real estate. I don't buy the real estate anymore. I buy the money. Everything is about the money. We're always in it. So if we get into the real estate business, what we have a dream of is having a bunch of properties that we're renting out. We're the landlord, and we have this positive cash flow coming in. That sounds so sweet, doesn't it? Unfortunately, the phone rings at night, toilet's overflowing, the lawn needs to be cut, there's a light bulb that needs to be changed. And all of a sudden, being a landlord isn't really as interesting as it once sounded. As a matter of fact, you got to pay the taxes on the property, you got to pay the insurance on the property. And if your tenant misses a rent, well, there could be a positive cash flow. And now you have to do an eviction to get them out of the property. This might not be the way that you really want to go, but very few people have the understanding. They only talk about the benefits. And so when you start buying real estate books and real estate tapes and seminars, basically what they talk about is the benefit. They don't talk about the reality, the bad. Can't sell books by talking about bad, could we now? So just make it all sugar-coated and make you think that having a portfolio of real estates and being a big landlord is the way to go. I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, got lots of individuals who are selling your portfolio of properties. They want the whole package sold. They're done with the landlording business. When I teach you how to invest in property, you'll never have to pay taxes on the property. You'll never have to pay the insurance, and you won't be the landlord. All you will be is the payee, receiving the income and none of the other headaches. No other school teaches this, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm the one and the reason why so many people talk highly about this school. This school has 5 stars rated, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of my students has talked high. Now, I'm sure one day I'm going to have somebody upset and give me a bad review. I know it's going to happen somewhere along the line, ladies and gentlemen. But hasn't happened in the last 4 years, and I'm very proud of that every student has been overjoyed and overwhelmed with what they received for their investment. Now, because of the world that we're living in today, ladies and gentlemen, you won't find too many people that are willing to even invest $299 in themselves for their future. And that's basically all you need. There are 2 classes, real estate practice, real estate fundamental. I charge $299 for each class, but I don't hit you up like the other schools do for the whole $598 all front, like the other schools do. And if you fail the other schools, then you fail. You're welcome to pay their $598 or $500, $600, $700, whatever they charge. You're welcome to pay that again. That is their business model. That is how they work. That's fine. They're also my competition. So I have to be able to be better than my competition. So when you pay for my class, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. You never have to pay for it again. You can come back to my class over and over and over again anytime you want. This it is a live streaming class, so all you need to do is give you a Zoom platform. When we have in-person classes, which I'll probably not go back to, even if the state changes the rules and says I don't need to do the 75-hour class anymore. I have other classes that I teach, and so I won't be at the mercy of the state. I like teaching pre-license. I like the live streaming platform. But if the state says that we can't do live streaming anymore, then I don't have to worry about it. I teach other classes. I don't need to worry about the pre-license class. So I'll still be teaching real estate. I just won't be teaching the pre-license. And it'd be probably better because I don't have to deal with the requirements of the state. I'm fine with it right now because the state has an agenda. The state wants to make sure that you, the student, receives everything that you need to succeed and be as professional in representing that you can. And so the state wants to make sure that schools like mine are going beyond the call of duty to teach you what you need so that you can be a great representative of the state and the real estate arena. And I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do my job. I'm very good at my job, and I put a lot of work and effort into my job. So I'm happy to continue to do that. But sometimes, as we know, government could go a little anal on us, and they like to threaten your income sometimes. I'm never going to be at that mercy, ladies and gentlemen. Never have been, never will be. And this is what you are looking for as well. You don't want to be dependent on a job, on an employer, on a government check. You want to be free bird. You want to go out there and make all the money that you possibly can make, that you're comfortable making. So, and you're not at anybody's mercy. You're your own boss. You do what you want to do, and you're smart enough to be in an arena where you can make plenty of income in the real estate arena. So this, fortunately, not for everybody. This is for those individuals that understand that we don't live in a socialized world. We live in a capitalized world. You got bills to pay, and try to tell those collectors of the bills that the government will pay it for you. It's not going to work. Then the electric gets shut off, the gas gets shut off, the water gets shut off. So you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, it costs to be boss. Do you know what it costs to fill up your tank? All right. So you have to understand this great big matrix and illusion that it's better to be sheep than to be civilized society. And so if the government has their way, they would prefer that you will be dependent. As I said, Uncle Sam used to say, I want you, I want you. And that hasn't changed, ladies and gentlemen. The government still wants you. So you are their product. We heard Facebook and Twitter talk about that you're the product. Well, that's how it works with the government too, ladies and gentlemen. So if they can get you to be depressed, if they can get you to think that the sky is falling and the world is coming to an end, then it is more easy to convince you to become government property. And so we have a generation that has been hoodwinked and blindfolded from the very beginning, and chances are that generation will become government property. But there's 4 other generations that will not. So what are those generations? We got the baby boomer generation. We have Generation X, Generation Y, the millennial generation, and now Generation Z. And so understand, government has their claws into one of those generations, and they're pretty much property of the government. Not everybody wants to be property of the government. So if you're looking to not be property of the government or property of a company where you're at the mercy of doing what the company says, or you're fired, if you don't want to be string tied to these kind of situations, then running your own company, running your own business, and being in the business where the money is in the real estate arena is probably what you want to do. And as I said, this is for the elite. This is for those who understand that you have to work to succeed. There's no get rich quick scheme out there, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I always went that route. I always tried to find the easy way, but what it turned out to be was extra work, more work than it was involved. There is no get rich quick scheme out there, ladies and gentlemen. Been doing this for 30 years. And I can tell you, the only way that I've been successful is the old fashioned way. You have to work to succeed. But I would rather work smart than work hard. So let's get back into real estate as I'm trying to encourage you to invest in yourself. Let's get back into the real estate. It's already 20 minutes left in this class. So a lien theory state and a title theory state. In a title theory state, ladies and gentlemen, you will not own that property until 30 years later when you make the final payment. That deed will be held by a third party called the trustee, and you will not get the deed to your property in a title theory state until 30 years later when you make your final payment. So as I said, Pennsylvania is a lien theory state, not a title theory state. The bank only has a lien against the property. In this state, you become the owner of that property day one. You get the deed in your name. Now, let's talk about deed and title, because you hear that all the time. What's the difference between a deed and a title? Well, we sell vehicles by title, but we sell property by deed. Vehicles would be known as personal property and real estate is real property. So here's the difference. The deed is the written instrument. The deed, that paperwork, when the seller hands you the deed to the property at the settlement table and you hand them a check, you become the owner of the property at that moment. We call this delivery and acceptance. So when the seller delivers the deed to you, the buyer, and you accept that deed at that moment, you become the owner of the property. But we also need to make sure that the deed is marketable, free and clear of any liens, any judgments, and marketable. Can the buyer now take the property free and clear and do what they want legally with the property? And so that is the role of us, the real estate agent, to make sure that the buyer is taking good and marketable deed to the property. What is title? Title is the process of making sure the deed is good. Starts with a title search. Then we have an abstract of title. Then we'll get an attorney's opinion. Then we'll get a certificate of title. And then ultimately we will get what's called title insurance. And once we have title insurance in this state, there's nothing higher than title insurance. Title insurance says that you indeed have marketable title, that you have fee simple, the highest legal form of ownership that you can have. And now you are a freehold owner of the property, which means you own that property forever, even beyond your lifetime in the state. Now it can go to the children, to your children's children, and so forth. So what we need to make sure is when we're looking at properties, when we're investing in property, it's not the property, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the four walls. It's the deed, the deed, the deed, the deed. So when I teach you the real estate business, when I teach you how to invest, how to buy, how to sell, it's not the four walls. Every property is pretty much the same, ladies and gentlemen. They're cookie cutter. We got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a yard, a porch, a garage. All right. So you've seen one, you've seen them all. It's not the property. It is the deed, the deed, the deed, the deed. So understanding the difference between a deed and a title, it's very important. We also talk about no properties exempt from government takeover. If the government wants your property, they can take your property. This is known as eminent domain, which is the power of the government to take your property, and condemnation is the process by which they'll take it. So again, what are the guidelines? Can the government just come along and take your property nilly-willy for any reason? And no. The government has to be able to take your property for the good of all. Let me give you an example. Your property sits in the middle of an expansion of I-95. Well, I-95 is for the good of all. And so to expand I-95, we might have to take a few houses that are along this expansion. The government has the right to step in through the power of eminent domain and take your property, but they can't just steal it. They have to give you fair market value. And we talked about this in my class. How do we determine fair market value? It'll be through an appraisal process. We'll talk about that in the class. The owner's going to have an appraisal done. The government's going to have an appraisal done. And then which chances are is we're going to have a review appraisal that comes in between these two to come up with fair compensation. Now, you may go to court to contest the compensation that you're receiving for the property, but you cannot go to court to save the property because the government does have this power to take your property for the good of all, not for the needs of one. And so we'll talk about that unless you can get an amendment like a casino. A casino might be able to break all the rules and laws and all the constitutional guidelines that protect the neighbors. And a casino might be able to go past everything through an amendment. And of course, that's buying off government officials to allow this to happen. And so it's not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to have the money. Casinos will have that kind of money so they can easily put a couple government officials in their pocket and get an amendment to get what they need done. And that's the way this business works, ladies and gentlemen. Money talks, BS walks. And so this is the game of real estate and finances. And you're going to need to know that the mortgages, the mortgage world props up the world, ladies and gentlemen. There's no bigger business, not in the state, not in this country, but in the world. There's no bigger business than the mortgage business, ladies and gentlemen. It props up the world. So naturally, I'm going to teach you the power of the mortgage and the notes so that when I say I'm going to teach you how to invest in property and invest in real estate, I'm going to be teaching you like nobody else has ever taught you. Things that you've never even heard of. We got even new investments out there, ladies and gentlemen, where we can take the deed and turn the deed into a corporation. And now we can sell shares of the corporation. It's a property, it's a mansion, but now we can break that up. We can take that deed, turn that deed into a corporation, and now sell that corporation, just like timeshares. But instead of timeshares, it wouldn't be timeshares, it would be a corporation. It's not, we have co-ops. This would not be a co-op situation. Co-op's very similar where you buy stock. You don't buy real estate. You're buying stock in a company, and that stock gives you a proprietary lease to the real estate. That's called a co-op. That's not what this is. So this is something different. Just like the mortgage, the note business, where we can do partial investment, partial note. So these are brand new investment techniques that are just coming out. And of course, I'm always on top of all these things, so I can teach you these things as they are happening, as they're coming out. But some of these things you probably never even heard of, never even knew about the difference between a mortgage and a note. And this is called the note industry. And again, the mortgage props up the world, ladies and gentlemen. It is the biggest business, bigger than gold, bigger than stocks, bigger than bonds, bigger than all that, minerals, you name it. The mortgage business runs the world. And so this is a class where you're going to learn more than you ever imagined, ladies and gentlemen. But it does require a little bit of investment on your part. Starting out with a $299 investment, that'll include your ebook, that'll include everything, ladies and gentlemen. And then it'll be a 4-week class for one subject, practice or fundamentals, depending if you take the morning class or the evening. Again, remember what I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's not chronological. You don't have to do fundamentals before you do practice. You don't have to do practice before you do fundamentals. Just because the book starts with chapter 1 to go through chapter 22 doesn't mean you have to be chronological. It is 2 separate subjects. Fundamental deals with the law, the legal aspect. Practice deals with your real estate business. 2 separate subjects. Doesn't matter which one you learn first or second. They're 2 separate subjects. You'll see that they have a lot of commonalities, not a commonalities, but they are 2 separate subjects. So it doesn't matter which one you learn first, especially in my class, because my class teaches these as 2 separate subjects, which they are. And so you should understand fundamental and practice. So now, other questions that you'll need to know for the exam: what are we selling in this business? What are we selling in this business? You might be thinking real estate, but that would not be the answer for the state exam. Another question: who do you represent in this business? You might be thinking that you represent the client, the buyer or the seller, but that would not be the right answer for the exam. So there is no way, ladies and gentlemen, that you would be able to pass this exam without this 75-hour required class. And that's why the state requires that you take this 75-hour class, because common sense doesn't apply when it comes to the legality and the government's involvement. Now you got to understand what you did not understand before. So what are we selling in this business? I told you it's that deed, the bundle of legal rights. Who do we represent? You represent the broker. The broker represents the client. So it doesn't matter if the client is your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your son, or your daughter. It is not your client. It is the broker of records client. So we'll talk about the broker of record, the associate broker, and you, the licensed real estate agent. All right. Now, they always say that a high school diploma and a GED is required. That's what they say. But they're not going to be asking you for the transcript, especially if you got a high school that's not even in a high school anymore. It's not even around anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not they say it is a requirement, but nobody's going to be asking you for your high school diploma or your GED to become a licensed real estate agent. However, the game does change when you go to become a broker. And again, the broker is a higher class. And now you're going to need letters of reference. You're going to need to prove your high school diploma to GED. That's okay. You can stay a real estate agent for the next 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't prove that you have a high school diploma or a GED, you don't need to become a broker. You're going to make a ton of money as a real estate agent. And so understand that there's a lot of opportunity for you. Some people will procrastinate. Some people will delay. Some people are good at one thing, like most people are very good at. And you know what that one thing is that we're good at better than anything else? Excuses. Excuses. God, are we good at them? Can we not come up with them? All right. The children, the family, the parents, the job, the car. We're good at it. We're good at it. So you could be good at your excuses, ladies and gentlemen, or you can bypass the excuse and invest in yourself. I got 2 classes remaining this year, September 27th and October 25th. Now, again, these are 2-month classes. They're an 8-week class. These are not these 3-week prep exams that see if you pay for it, see if you pass. If you don't pass, you can pay for this class all over again. That's what a 3-week class does for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a 3-week class. This is an 8-week class. And in this class, once you pay for it, you never have to pay for it again. You can come back to this class over and over and over again anytime you want. Trust me, a lot of my students take me up on this opportunity. They like to come back to the class to do a refresher. They haven't been able to take the state exam, or they're getting ready to take the state exam and they like to take a refresher. You never have to pay for this class again, ladies and gentlemen. So it's $299 for practice, $299 for real estate fundamentals, $598, the best investment you'll ever make in yourself if you're wise enough and smart enough without the excuses to make the investment. And to make it easier for you, you only need $299 to get started. You don't need the whole $598. So, but not everybody has $299 to invest in themselves. Not everybody has that, especially if you don't want to go back to work and you're still in the basement doing nothing. Then coming up with $299 is quite a challenge for you, isn't it? How would you like to go through life for the rest of your life, struggling to make $300 to come up with $300? Well, that's what you're asking for, ladies and gentlemen. So you better understand that you can either take this opportunity to improve yourself, or you can take this opportunity to improve on your excuses. Those are basically your 2 choices that you have here. So I have 2 classes remaining, September 27th, which is next week. And I got 1 more free class, which will be next Monday before our next class starts. And then the next and our last class is October 25th. Because it's an 8-week class, those students who will be joining the October class will be in October's and November's class. But I don't advertise November's class because I can't take any new signups for the November. The last signups I can take is the October, which will incorporate October and November. And because of the holidays, it's not really feasible to run a class in December. So we have lots of holidays in December, all the way into the new year. It would not make sense to run a class in December unless you're running a 3-week class. Then you can throw a 3-week class into December. But when you're running a bona fide real estate school, an 8-week class that'll teach you more than you ever thought you can imagine, then December's off my calendar. I can't throw it in there. with the holidays and give you the education that you're paying for. I'm not a school that wants to deprive you of the education that you're paying for. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Online Real Estate School Incorporated. We are now located in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia. We'll be having more branches open. I am strictly live streaming. Yes, I have the branch locations, and I'll teach you why. Because of local marketing, especially with Google's Assistant. Local marketing, having a physical land address, can absolutely help you out with SEO and local marketing, especially with Google My Business and the other things that are out there that I'll teach you that you could take advantage of. And so now when I teach you these things, I got a special class on Thursday for my students who are signed up. And no other school will do this. On Thursday, for my students that are signed up, and this happens every class, I run a special class in between. See, I got this whole week off. So you think I would just go to the golf course, take a break? No, I'm still going to teach. I'm still going to be teaching. And so on Thursday, we'll be doing a math class, a business class, a broker interview class for my students. No other school offers this, ladies and gentlemen. So you find that when you join my school, you get more than you ever imagined. I will not deprive you of the education that you will be paying for, not in this school. And once again, once you pay for it, you never have to pay for it again. This is going to be your alma mater, ladies and gentlemen. This will be your university of education and teaching, and it will always be available for you. I'm not shutting down, I'm expanding. And that's the way that I handle adversity. Watch what others are doing. Everybody else is boo-hoo-hooing, all crying the blues. I'm doing the opposite. I'm expanding. All right, so our newest office is in Pittsburgh. We are out there at 429 4th Avenue, Suite 300, Pittsburgh, PA, 15219. We're also in Center City, Philadelphia, 1500 JFK Boulevard. We're on the 3rd floor, Philadelphia, PA, 19102. And we have our main office, which is the records, where we keep all our records and so forth, that's required by the state, at 6044 Castor Avenue. Suite 201B is the school, and Suite 201 is our brokerage, ISS Realty. And so after you're done my class and after you pass the exam, you have an opportunity, many opportunities. As I said, we talked about it right at the beginning. There are many avenues that you can pursue after you get that, after you pass the state exam. You can go to work for a brokerage. You can go to work for a Fortune 500 company. You can go to work for a franchise. You can go to work for a developer, an investor. There's lots of opportunities that I'll teach you. But if you decide to go to work for a broker, knowing how to do the interview process, because you're not interviewing for a job, you're not interviewing for a job, you're interviewing for a business partnership, a business relationship. And so you're going to need to know how to do that interview with the broker. And my school teaches you how to interview a broker as well. So all these things are incorporated into my class, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why you see those 5-star reviews. This is why you see the students and those reviews that you see, because they are absolutely grateful for the investment that they made in themselves and the rewards that they're receiving from this school. And so I hope I can encourage you to sign up and invest in yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I run this free class every Monday just to try to help you make a decision on what school and what investment you would like to make in yourself. I hope to see you in my class, and I'm looking forward to making you a licensed real estate professional. Until we meet again, my time is about up, ladies and gentlemen. I still have 2 minutes, which is an eternity for me, because I usually never have any time left over. As soon as I'm done this, the next project and the next project. So I got my whole night planned out all the way up until midnight. I got a lot of things to do. And so having this 2 minutes, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like I can get a chance to catch my breath here for a second and just talk, just have a nice conversation. When you come to my class, ladies and gentlemen, you will see lots of conversations that we will have. After class is over, a lot of the students stick around to talk about things that are happening in their world, in their life, and could I help them with this, and what could I help them with that. 2 of my students, ladies and gentlemen, are going on to become homeowners. I have now helped them become financed with the mortgage, with the grant. We went through the property, we did the agreement of sale. So they're leaving my class, not with just a real estate license, but they're leaving my class homeowners. That is something really, really cool, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to start doing much more of that. I want to start helping many of my students before they leave my class become homeowners. And so it's been a nice little trend that I've been doing this year. Little by little, I've been helping a little bit here, but it's getting to be the point where more and more of my students want me to help them become homeowners before the class is even over. And so I'm hoping to see that in my reviews. I always ask for reviews, you know, it's just tough to get them. The intention is there. People say, yes, I'm definitely going to leave you a review. I love you. I'm going to leave you a review, but excuses, life gets in the way. And for some reason or another, I don't end up with all the reviews that I could possibly have, which would be nice if I could have them all, but that's the way it goes. So when you read my reviews, ladies and gentlemen, you will read the sincerity, the true feelings of my students, and you'll feel it, you'll understand it when you read it. These are not fake reviews. These are real students that have been satisfied. And 2 of my students in this class are leaving my class homeowners. And I'm very proud of that. And I would like to do the same for you. Wait till you see what's waiting for you. You can't imagine the marvelous surprises that are waiting. You just got to come take that leap of faith, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you in my class. I'm looking forward to making you a licensed real estate professional. Until we meet again, be safe, be healthy, and be happy.